Hello and very warm welcome to Dr. Zia Ahmed YouTube channel. This is, everybody knows, that the channel dedicated to Pakistani literature, rather Pakistani post-colonial literature, and different discussions being held here for the benefit of my students. Right now, this video is being recorded on the title of the novel Ice Candyman by Sidhwa. The title of this novel, Ice Candyman, is significant because there are double titles. First, it was the title Ice Candyman. As everybody knows, later on in USA edition, the title was changed from Ice Candyman to Cracking India. Whatever the titles are, we need to discuss today the appropriateness of the title, the suitability with the text and the story of the title, and what was the need of changing the titles. Let's take, first of all, Ice Candyman. The very first word, ice, that goes to talk about number of things inside the novel. Why the ice is used? Because, ice can be taken in two ways. Number one, the icy behavior, the icy attitude, and secondly, the melting of the ice. With respect to that, this thing can be talked about. In Ice Candyman, as everybody knows, that first of all, the interpretation that we can have is that of the iciness or icy nature of the politicians, which are very important in this text because all these politicians were fighting for the sake of independence of India, and some were trying to establish Pakistan. And at that time, whatever the situation was going on, that situation goes to reflect, especially the situation within the text of the novel, shows that the leaders didn't have any concern with that. The politicians were not that much concerned as the people were suffering. The loads of migration took place, people suffered, there were the injuries, there were the deaths, there was the bloodshedness that happened, but it has been shown throughout the text that the very little concern has been shown by the politicians of that time. Not only the indigenous politicians, but the politicians of the English India. There's not much shown, so that is why the icy attitude of these people has been reflected. It also goes to talk about the politicians' instability, that one day they would say something different, and then U-turnism, as we are experiencing these days as well, they will give another opinion, take another policy, act in a different way, and that goes to prove that the instability of these people is also there, as is the instability in the ice. That ice for some time is very hard and is very cold, but after some time it would melt down and it can become water as well. And once again, if you try to make the ice out of the same water, it will become so. So in that way, the Ice Candyman's ice word goes to talk about the instability of the politicians as well. Same is the case, we can to some extent take the example of Mr. Gandhi as well, who has been talking of, very much softer side of himself about the betterment and improvement of humanity. But when the sufferings of these people were happening and taking place, he didn't do anything in order to save the people from that. So in that way, the politicians' instability as well as their icy nature has been talked about through this novel. Same is the case with the protagonist, Ice Candy Man, in this novel. He has got different roles in the novel. He's unstable and his attitude is not stable. For example, sometimes he becomes the Ice Candy Man, and after a certain time he would become the Birdman, and then he would become a massager, and ultimately he would become something different. So his changing roles are also just like the icy nature of the ice itself, that it can melt and change itself. So instability in the character is also available. The images that we find inside the text is that of the politicians. These images also are changing. So there is the instability, there is the kind of nature of ice which is cold also, which is apathetic also, and it's not giving any concern for the emotions of the people. And the same is the case with this instability of the nature that is reflected in Ice Candy Man as well. It's reflected in the images of the politicians as well. As far as the completion of the whole title is concerned, that is Ice Candy Man, when we look at the title with respect to the protagonist of the story and combine the whole title at that time also, on the one hand there is candy, that is sweet, that is very good. On the other hand there is ice. So both these things are contrasting in nature. For example, sweetness of love is there, but then iciness of the neglect of love is also there in case of Ice Candy Man. For example, he's the lover of Shanta and tries to be very close to her, provides the sweetness of candy, but ultimately when Shanta is under trouble at that time, he does not behave in that way, which is candy-like. It's like icy-like. So in that way, Ice Candy Man, the title is quite appropriate with love, with respect to his behavior. Not only this Ice Candy Man is the tale of love, but also it's a tale of betrayal. The betrayal took place at that time when Ice Candy Man, even claiming that he's going to be the lover of Shanta, he's the one very much interested in that incident which took place at the house of Lenny, and there he guaranteed to Lenny that nothing will happen to Shanta. So Lenny spoke the truth, and ultimately Shanta was driven out, and a lover, for example, was the part and partner of the kind of crime he committed on the body of Shanta, and then he also put her into the brothel houses, made her a singer in that way, or we can also say that apparently said that he's going to save Shanta, but actually she became a type of prostitute inside the brothel. So in this way, Ice Candy Man's name, Ice Candy Man's character suits very much towards the title Ice Candy Man, and that is why it is quite appropriate title when we want to look at the novel with reference to the tale of love and betrayal presented in this novel. So not only Ice Candy Man is going to talk about the nature of the politicians, but also about the nature, behavior of different people inside the text as well. Ice Candy Man is definitely, as I pointed out, it's about the sweetness and the melting of the things as well. So one can see that India, when people were living together at that time, all types of people were living together just like brothers. I mean, it was the Sikhs and Hindus living together, Muslims living together, and all these people used to enjoy their life, and all these people used to discuss things with each other. All these people shared the woes and happinesses of each other. That was the sweetness of India. But as soon as the partition was announced, the kind of rupture of Indian borders and the kind of things which happened at that time, the migration which took place, that is the bitterness of India, that is the ice-like situation. So once again, with respect to partition theme also, there is one situation where sweetness is there, other situation where icy situation is there, and that situation is devoid of any emotions, that is the destruction altogether. This is also pointed out through the title of Ice Candy Man is novel. So theme of partition supported with that. Along with the theme of partition, we can also add here the Cracking India, the second title, because according to the foreign word, according to the American word, this title Ice Candy Man would not suit to point out what had happened at the time when the partition took place. So that is why the title was changed. Cracking India means that India was cracked, and as a result, a borderline was created, and according to that borderline, new states were established. So in this way, Cracking India is quite suitable with respect to the movie, also with respect to that new title of in the American edition. But more so, this title is useful and suitable in order to make the historical things into some tale of love as well, because it's a novel as well. But everybody is thinking that the post-colonial texts are not only the stories of romance and love, but they're also more the stories of the conflict, and most of the time this conflict is the political conflict, and that is why this type of thing is suitable in every way. So what I can say is that not only the protagonist is concerned, the female protagonist is concerned in every way. Ice Candy Man is a quite useful title, quite appropriate title. Same as the case with the second title, that's also useful. And both the titles join hands with each other in order to convey the full meaning to the reader. So that is the discussion that we can have on the title of Ice Candy Man, and I hope so that my students can go and enter into the text and find out certain evidences, the textual evidences, and later on internet they can look for different research papers to find out the critical evidences in order to support these claims, and they can make a very good assignment on the title and appropriateness of the title of the novel Ice Candy Man by Sidhwa. So that's it from me for this day. Hope to see you in some other video. Thank you very much for watching this. This is though very short one, but still, if you want to enjoy it, see it, and try to follow it as well. If you like it, understand something, do not fail to hit the subscribe button as well as that of the like button. If you comment in, I will try to answer that as well. So thank you. See you in some next video.